Hello everybody, hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports talk and another episode of Everything Since. Every single week, once per week, we break down a top personality, streamer, pro player, former pro, whoever you guys want. Make sure to leave a comment down below who you want us to cover next in Everything Since. Last week we covered Ninja, this week Nadeshot, two of the most prominent figures currently in gaming and esports, and boy, their backstories are pretty crazy. Today we break down for all of you guys Nadeshot, everything since OpTic. I hope you all enjoy, and make sure to leave a comment down below who you want us to cover next as we stretch back to March of 2016, and shortly before that as well, after Nadeshot departed OpTic, which many people do forget the circumstances around that. Not going to dive too much into it, but it was actually Nadeshot who was himself offered ownership in OpTic, and after a delayed amount of time, eventually left the organization entirely, left behind that ownership offer to start up the 100 Thieves brand. A huge emphasis on that brand is going into 2016 and 2017, and now looking back on this, very weird times for guys like Nick Merckx and Nadeshot. One of his first partners in this business plan as well was a guy like Nick Merckx, and looking back on their gameplay together, playing various titles, producing various forms of content together, vlogging together, heck, even golfing together, it's super kind of weird and eerie knowing what we do now to look back on these two guys who supposedly did kind of start it up and run it up together in the very beginning throughout 2016 and 2017. And also a fun side fact for all of you guys who do care, it's ever since been confirmed by Shroud himself on stream. He too was offered to run it up for some ownership in 100 Thieves very early on. He himself, in classic Shroud fashion, actually denied it, saying he didn't want to put the work and effort in, even though he has also stated he has no regrets despite 100 Thieves and their massive success. Speaking of massive success, it was actually throughout 2016, 2017, the hard grind of these two characters and others who slowly joined what could be the fastest growing esports brand as of right now today. And it was late 2017 they finally got their first financial investment, and that's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert finally getting involved, which made some huge ripples throughout the organization. When it came to their clothing line, the expansion and growth there steadily started to become a huge thing for 100 Thieves, which we now know to be one of the biggest merch and clothing operations in esports and gaming. But it also came with a gigantic move, their first and ever franchise purchase in the LCS with League of Legends. In January 2018 was also when Nade struck a long-term commitment, which is a still healthy relationship now to this day, with Rocket Mortgage, who sponsored a team house for that same LCS team. It wasn't until later in July that Thieves actually expanded to an LCS Academy team as well, and the overall staff for 100 Thieves slowly but surely began to expand to what we know today to fill an entire facility. Now, despite all of this, it was actually late in 2018 where one of the biggest announcements in Thieves history became apparent, that being the collaboration and co-ownership and bringing them onto the brand of both Scooter Braun and Drake. Yes, the now notorious photos of there. We've seen a big collab between Drake and a few other creators out there, Ninja being one, Nadeshot being the other, and he himself is now an established co-owner of 100 Thieves. And what this actually brought him alongside Scooter Braun for the expansion and growth, not only the clothing line, but the brand itself, cannot really be compared to many other esports orgs because the connections they brought with them have been strenuous and have been very apparent ever since that day. The year of 2018 was concluded as the first 100 Thieves content house was also announced in LA, eventually housing Nadeshot himself, new signee Valkyrie at the time, and later on in the year of 2019, Courage eventually joined the house, which was known to produce a lot of content for the team. Early 2019 was actually spent teasing some gigantic Thieves announcements, which we'll talk about in a bit, first of which being the new facility, a new sponsor in Totino's, which has also been proven to be a very healthy relationship and a long-term one, and a slew of sponsorships acquired by 100 Thieves, and unfortunately so, now we approach the timeline of our first ever and only ever, I would say, 100 Thieves controversy, as what we talked about back in 2016 and 2017, the up-and-coming remarks of this brand, of course, with Nick Merckx alongside Nadeshot, came back a bit as Nick Merckx finally spoke out about that potential ownership deal, which fell through.
To wrap it up, I mean, we went out there, the plan was for me to grow, and in turn that would grow 100 Thieves, right? That was my role. You know, and he made some promises to me as a friend, how we were going to do it, how he was going to take care of me. It just didn't end up happening, man. I don't hate the guy, you know. I definitely don't hate him, but I don't like him. You know, him and I are not cool.
It was around this time Nick Merckx cited that Nadeshot promised him a 5% ownership in the 100 Thieves brand, which ever since had rapidly expanded. At the point of him talking out as well, the valuation for 100 Thieves had broken $100 million. So as you guys can imagine, the controversy sparked, well, a lot of viewership and a lot of people out there complaining on both sides. Nadeshot citing he did not want to respond with any details to actually further the argument, and has ever since not really stated too much besides, well, their current beef right now. Clearly both of them not over it. The latest actually we touched on here, guys, is Nick Merckx referring to Nadeshot as a turkey dick. Now, the rebound for this, though, in the coming months was still several sponsorships coming on for 100 Thieves. Along with that, a new signee, that being Courage JD, which has proven not only a podcast partner for Nadeshot, but also a gigantic add-on for the team when it comes for leaving Twitch, deciding to YouTube, and being just a gigantic overall producer for the esports organization. Him alongside newer face Brooke AB have become some big partners for the 100 Thieves brand, especially when it comes to promoting some of their advertising and sponsorships like Chipotle as well. They have featured immensely for 100 Thieves and continue to help them to grow their brand. And it was all of this that led up to the announcement of their Cash App compound, currently by many opinions out there, one of, if not the best, current and esports gaming facilities out there, brand new, housing their entire staff. Unfortunately, due to the current virus outbreak, obviously housing probably no one, but along with the full-time staff, obviously several teams out there as well can train and work out of the facility, and it certainly does rival some of the best facilities, if not the single best we have ever seen in gaming. Also, ever since we have found out the entire facility has been covered by sponsorship, which many esports organizations cannot say for themselves. Nadeshot has done plenty of things alongside many announcements we probably missed around him and his brand. He himself, throughout the year of 2019 as well, did some amazing things, not only in Call of Duty, despite the entire organization leaving the Call of Duty League and deciding not to pay that heavy franchise fee. He himself was the first personality and person to get custom skins inside the game of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, even beating out Call of Duty League teams as he partnered with Totino's to introduce his own custom in-game skins. Pretty crazy. Of course, he, alongside the 100 Thieves organization, also now offering their own custom kits inside FIFA 20 with their partnership over there. And despite all of this, so many other things they have done to establish a gigantic brand, not only for 100 Thieves, but Nadeshot himself. He has made so many moves that most other personalities can't claim to even have come close. And that's been Nadeshot, guys. Everything since OpTic, a really crazy story. I do apologize. I'm slowly trying to get into the rift of the kind of how to do these videos. If you guys have any critiques, feel free to leave them down below. But slowly but surely, as we accrue more players and personalities out there to cover, I'm sure I will get it down. So far, we've covered Ninja. Now we've covered Nadeshot. Two tremendous stories in gaming and esports. Who do you guys want to hear about next on Everything Sense? Until next time, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon.